that she removed the battery from the back of the clock because she said the sound tick, tick, disturb her brain. You can imagine. So some people actually want a very quiet environment, so you don't want to create problem for them. Poor maintenance culture. If you are in an environment where the ACs are not maintained, be ready to be engaging the client even now and then. Even there's a point the client will understand. They will tell you you are not performing, and which you know is not your problem. For maintenance is essential for the survival of you being in any company. Purpose of the design. What is the purpose of the HVAC design for the building? You need to understand and know that. Do no part available. If there's no part available, can also affect. Not considering power issue, one or three phase. I've mentioned this one before. There are some areas where you know that three phase cannot work. Always go for AC that are single phase. Those one at any time they can always come on. But for three phase, they might be light. The light will not be sufficient to power on your AC. People will still be complaining. Or if you have generator to buy as a standby. Then conditional assessment through auditing of HVAC system. So why did I bring this topic in? Sometimes when you acquire or you take a new job or you go into a building, you know what you need to do, what they call condition assessment or audit of the system. You can do it as a general as all the services, but for this particular training, you do it for the sake of your HVAC system. First of all, you draw a list, you itemize them. What system do we have on ground? What are the issues of the AC on ground? What are the possible solutions for the exam? Have a copy and send a copy to your client. You need to know the condition of AC. If the AC has been giving them problem before you inherit it and you did not detect it before you come in, it will now become your problem. Then these are the steps you need. So this one is self-explanatory. These are the steps you must consider before you carry out that condition assessment. So you can read that on your own. Then step. Toyosi, I hope I'm not taking all the time. What time is it? Hello, Toyosi. Is she online? Hello? 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 Do I have anybody online? Okay, I'm asking. Yeah, can I still go ahead? Okay, okay. Okay, no wahala. Sorry, okay. Step required for carrying out an audit. Gather building design data. First of all, you must understand the building data. What are the building data? What are the parameters they use in sizing those ACs, those equipment that they put in place? You must gather them. When you gather them, you now begin to compare if it is the required thing they are supposed to do. You enter a building, people are always complaining, this place is very hot. What do you want to do again as a facility? The first day you enter for audit, people are already complaining the place is hot. And whereas it's raining outside. Is that an idea that the AC there was undersized? Visit site or location for the audit. You must visit site, or if you don't have much experience, you can send in your best vendor for that particular service to help you carry those out, or you use your technician. Then definition of profitable solution and action plan. You must determine this. When you discover a defect or a deficiency in a system, you must put together that deficiency with solution to bring it to what they call efficient equipment. Then reporting. You must report. Report is supposed to be on a document that you have a copy and you send a copy to your client. Then checklist for HVAC system. This is an example of checklist that is required. Why do you need to do checklist? Before your client comes in the morning, you've already gone round to check the condition of your AC if they are working fine. If you know that they are going to have meeting in the boardroom, by 9 o'clock. By 7, you're already there. The technician is there to check that every equipment within there is working fine. Not just for AC alone. Your lighting system, you must check if it is okay and sufficient. Your board, you must check that it's okay and working fine. Your AC, put the temperature as a required about 22 to 25. As they are entering into the place, they are feeling the comfort you have provided for them, and you get kudos for that. So there are things your technician must check. There are some physical things you too must check. Any physical defect, you don't want them to be having meeting and one of the cassette unit just pull out in front of your directors and you are removing it in their presence. So it's not supposed to be. So these are things you need to check before the meeting starts. So there are different checklists for different environments. If you have split unit, window unit, they can share the same checklist. But when you are having a central system, their checklists have similar things, but there are a lot of differences among it. Then PPM, plan preventive maintenance. I've now talked about it before. Plan preventive maintenance are steps you need to take to ensure continual use of a particular equipment, either in-house or using a vendor. You understand? And this form part of your running costs, running operational costs for your facility. Very, very important. No facility can succeed without a planned preventive maintenance. Most especially if your equipment is the most expensive in the building, you need to understand that equipment very, very well. Then maintenance strategies. So we have preventive maintenance, we have corrective maintenance. So under preventive, we have periodic, predictive, and plan. This is one is similar to what I showed you from the beginning. Then this one run to failure. You use the equipment until the equipment shout, "Oga, you don't do. Now won't kill me." Those are the kind of things you have in your building. Then you have unplanned failure. I'm trying to make this in a comic way so that it becomes part of you. So a facility person, if you are far off from your facility, you might use your phone. There might be a software that sends you text message. Those of us that are used to what they call e-CAFM. So e-CAFM. So if you have e-CAFM in your that is computer aided facility management, you create an alert that lets you know where and when you need to maintain a particular equipment. It sends you an update. If possible, send your vendors an update. By next week, please, it is time for fumigation exercise. You understand? Then you do the needful. If you have a system like that, and then fine. If you don't have, try and put it in place. Then you see this 31 days maintenance schedule. So you must have something like this in your facility. You must check. You see what they are doing here? You have an equipment, you have the maintenance tax, you have reference. Okay, performed by the name of your in-house or the vendor, the time spent in doing this, then you create a kind of Excel sheet, or if you have a master sheet, to schedule each of the thing. Then as a facility person, you must check this every day if you want to remain in your job. Then how to heat How do heat get into space? These are one of the things you also consider. Your AC might be working on fine, but people are complaining that they are not getting sufficient heat. How does heat come into space? Heat comes from human being. Heat Heat comes from human being. Heat comes from equipment, electrical equipment. Heat comes from light. Heat comes from the sun. There are infiltration. If the next building is your kitchen and you are next to it, heat can be coming through the wall into the space where you are located. You understand? There are various ways to which heat can enter space. So when you are doing your cooling load, every component must be taken care of for you to get the sufficient cooling required for the space. Then humans, electrical equipment, I've mentioned this, solar heat gain, location of the building, the activities carried out within the space. I've mentioned that before. Then AC installation tip. when you are talking about installation, there are steps that is required for you to take to ensure a professional installation of your AC. Strength of wall to hold your AC. When you want to install your AC on the wall, you must check that the concrete wall or the wall you want to put your AC is firm enough to handle the strength, the weight of your AC. Proper spacing between the wall and the AC unit. There are standards that must be kept. A minimum of 200 cm is required just at the back of your AC. Appropriate installation height from ground. You must install your AC away from the ground. If you, some people will drop them on the ground, not that it is bad, but sometimes it suck dust from the surface of the ground and put to itself, and this can affect or clog the condenser coil. Then correct tint angle of indoor unit. You must tint your indoor unit to a point where water will be flowing out. Correct location of your outdoor unit. You must determine where your outdoor unit is going to be. Don't put your outdoor unit facing another AC. This one is blowing out heat, your own is blowing out heat. Normally it's supposed to be cool. As they are both blowing heat to each other, the AC is going to shut down. So proper placement of the outdoor unit, right distance between the indoor and outdoor unit. This distance required for indoor and outdoor unit for a split unit should not exceed maximum of 15 meters. Any AC that exceed 50 meters go for the next capacity of AC. You understand my point? Then use proper electrical cable. Use 15 amp plug and above, depending on the kind of size that you want. Then do proper vacuuming of your AC. Ensure there is no leakage. Use proper refrigerants. Then ensure thermostats are installed. Then you can see the installation that this man, a different type of AC installation you may find in your building. These are AC installation. You see how this guy did the installation very professional. Most building you go, you see AC cable dangling and dancing around the building. They deface the building. Split unit, that is the danger of split unit. It affects aesthetics. So when you want to use a split unit, you must have incorporated the space for that split unit from the beginning, and you must determine where they will be installed. If you want them to be installed outdoor, make provision for pipes to run from the indoor to the outdoor unit. And if they must be on the roof, find a professional way of installing them. You can see what I've shown you now. Then this is a roof of a building. Most of our shopping mall, ShopRite and the rest, they have design almost like this. Why do they have this design? All of them want individual control. I give you a point. There's one facility we were managing. They installed a central AC for them. So the AC was actually designed to cool a big space. But sooner or later, the owner of the property was making a lot of money. So he now partitioned the open space to bring in more customers. But he discovered that the AC were not distributing to that particular location. So when they were now doing the cost for what the energy usage for the person, they were now having issue on how to charge for air conditioning system into that space. You understand me? Because some place, when they were not finally distributed, some place have more AC cooling than the others. Yet they stayed told both to pay the same amount for AC, which is not good enough. So there are a lot of problems that will crop up when you are running a facility. So you can either meet an experienced person, call people that knows to help you out in solving that problem. Then this is a chiller installation. This chiller you're seeing, I actually delivered this chiller when I was working with Mandelas some years back. That should be about 8 years ago in Ibadan. It's one of the things they bought for their factory to cool with the absorption chiller I told you about. This is air-cooled chiller. So it's a central unit, so they are ducted units. This chiller works with the A issue. So the A, I don't know if the A issues are there, I will show you and explain how it works. Let me see if I have left there. Okay, these are VRF system. VRF system, these are, you see the way they install this. They are usually on top of a building. Because of space, people don't put their AC on the ground floor. So if you want to do this, you must ensure the integrity of your structure is not compromised. Because as this AC are working, the weight can actually fall through a building one of those days. You might not know, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It can fall through the building. So if you determine the load that your AC, your building will carry, you must have incorporated them from the beginning. Then this is outdoor unit installation. This is how outdoor units are supposed to be installed. You see this professional installation. You see the, though this is not your part, but you need to understand all these things are called what? These are not. You see the copper pipe, they are not of the same size. The bigger size are the suction line. The smaller ones are the liquid line. So it has to be connected to the indoor unit for you to get a complete system. So we'll go to the next one now. What is ventilation system? Sometimes you wonder, what is ventilation doing in AC? Why are we using ventilation is everything. Ventilation take care of smell. Ventilation take care of smoke. Ventilation sometimes take care of dirt. When you go to your kitchen, why we can have Mr. Beast cook within their restaurant today is because they have a form of ventilation removing the heat, the smoke out of the building, whereas creating a conducive environment for those that cook. You will want to enter a kitchen, somebody who want to serve you meat pie, serve you fried rice and the rest is sweating profusely, and part of the sweat is falling on your food. You will not love that. So in order to create an environment, a comfortable environment in the kitchen, what do? They ensure that the ventilation system is created. There are some that can afford it. They create actually AC in their kitchen. But to remove smoke and excessive heat, you need a form of ventilation system like kitchen hood to take care of it. Another angles where you will need ventilating system is your toilet, your restroom. Sometimes when you go there to do your business, there are smells. This smell need to be taken out of the building. So what do we use? We use the equipment they call an extractor fan. So extractor fan are where they are designed to remove smell or smoke or even heat into the place. And as you are removing heat, you need to introduce what they call a fresh air into the space, because if you remove too much air, you create a negative pressure. So every standard building on the island, every standard must have a standard ventilation. Even in a restaurant, in the kitchen, in their hotels, and in their toilet. You won't go to toilet when you do your business, the whole place is smelling. It does not show professionalism in the building structure. So what you need to do is to take away that smell away. Then I give you an example also. And the ventilating system, where you are picking your fresh air unit too, matters a lot. We have somewhere in Festac where they have this big mall. We went there. What was the problem they had? The man has a very big place where children goes every weekend to play with family. But all of a sudden, he started perceiving smell within this place, because as you are removing hair, don't forget you are supposed to bring in fresh air so that people will be able to feel conducive, breathe in the required oxygen, and stay alive. So after our check, we discovered where they were bringing out the fresh air. They went to put the fresh air equipment where we have sock away. So the sock away was actually taking smell from outside and dumping it into the place. So the man started losing customers because people cannot withstand the smell. So they called us in. We were able to identify the problem. Then we sort out the problem was to remove the fresh air equipment and take it to where we have a neutral air, a purified air into the space. The type of ventilation system. We have the mechanical ventilation, natural ventilation, then mixed mode ventilation. So This is an example of a ventilating system. You see what is happening there? You see what is happening? This big red arrow is blowing hot air out of the building while the windows is directly opposite it, sucking air from outside into the building, thereby creating a natural effect, but with a mechanical means. Then these are fans that you might see in some area doing those ventilation system. This is a centrifugal fan. It blows and sends in. Anywhere you see a red line, it's hot air. That is intake. Then here is the exhaust air, taking it out. Then this one is what? This side is closed, okay, sealed. Then one other equipment you can have in a system is what they call a recovery equipment. In Daikin, they call it the vamp. Sometimes you need to bring something into the building. Fresh air, remove exhaust air, you require the return air, and you need a supply air within this place. The OA is outdoor air, and the E is the... Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. So we have what they call the return air, we have what they call the supply air, we have what they call the outside air or outdoor air. So the outdoor air, this particular point you see is what they call the mixing box. And this E might be an economizer. So this outdoor air is coming at a higher temperature. The temperature outdoor might be 20, might be 28, might be 25. Then the return air from a cool space can be between 15 or say 20. So the essence of this mixing box is to react with the heated air like 28 coming in from outside. You understand? Then it is treated with the heating equipment, then pass through the chill equipment, and this is supply into space. Where you see heat and chilled equipment, they are trying to control the humidity of air coming into the space. There are areas where precision equipment is required, and when precision equipment is required, humidity and temperature matters to their product. I give example of those of us that are chemistry students. There are some chemicals they call hygroscopic compounds. Hydroscopic compound are compound that absorb water from air. Example is our salt and your granite. When you are in a pharmaceutical company, a product, when you are producing it, there's a condition to which the product must be before you start selling them and packaging them for distribution. A good example is the Pfizer vaccine that they produce. You see that when they produce it, they told you at a minus, I don't know if it's -7 or -20. That is when the thing is at optimum efficiency. Sure, you understand? The same thing happens in a factory. When you are producing, you need the temperature within that place to be within this particular figure. Any little move from that figure, it affects what they are producing. And it costs one of our company years ago about 10 million naira to pay back to Cabri there. When they finished their design, they commissioned the equipment, they discovered that there were a lot of water in air. They were producing what? Tom-tom. So as they were producing the tom-tom, they exposed the tom-tom to a high humidity. So the tom-tom was actually absorbing too much water. And as they absorbed water, they were packaging it. Sooner or later, customers started complaining they were not buying. So they called in an experienced person, they came check, and they discovered what the problem is, that it was having high humidity. And the only way to solve it was to bring in a dehumidifier, something that removed the water from air. And it cost our company back then, many years ago, that should be 10, 12 years back, it cost them close about 10 million to be able to install that in, and that problem was eliminated. So if you want to design for a conditioned space, you need to be very careful with the kind of equipment, cooling equipment you are supplying. All the ones I've been talking about, I've been emphasizing or human comfort. Human comfort, not precision. Precision is used in product. You understand? Why all the air conditioner I've mentioned previously are used for comfort. Then ventilation is needed in the kitchen. I've mentioned all this before. Different type of supply air, return air, exhaust air, and outdoor air. I've mentioned all those. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. VAMP, or heat recovery. What does this do? Fresh air unit. You see this fresh air unit is coming into the space. Then return air is coming from the space. When you are sitting in a space, your body generates heat. The heat is coming for electrical equipment. It actually comes through this place. The exhaust air are smell, body odor, leaving the environment outside the building. Then outdoor air is coming in. Why do we need outdoor air? When you use up all the oxygen within the space, people within the space will be telling you, I'm feeling very stuffy, I can't breathe within the space. Sometimes ACs are installed without air coming into the space. So we have an equipment that can actually take care of the air required within the space. That's why they call them fresh air units. Now that we are having COVID-19, there is high demand for this equipment because people want to take all the dirty air out of the place through what they call exhaust air, and they want to bring in fresh air into the space and at the same time remove all the smell from the space. So you have an equipment that can actually take care of this. Then air handling unit. This is a full topic of its own. Why they call it air handling unit? It's mainly used in bigger factories, in companies, in hospitals. They actually use this to condition the weather within the space. The A is air, the H is handling, and the U is unit. So they have different compartments. So those different compartments explain in details what they are delivering into space. We have areas where we have filters, we have areas where we have the mixing bowls, we have areas where we have the cool unit, chiller, evaporator coil, then we have areas that require the heating coil, and we have areas where you have fan that deliver the cooling air into the required space. They use them in big place. So the only thing that use electricity here is the fan. Every other things are mechanical. The filter is mechanical because it purifies the air. Then this is another type of filter. There are different types. So it have different components within it. You see at this point, you have the fan, then you have the heating coil, the cooling coil, then you have your filter. The essence of the filter is to purify the air. Then the coil is to heat up, then cool. Then the fan is to deliver the air through ducted unit to the required space. Like I said, it's being used in the hospital. You can actually control the condition of the space with this equipment. So we have filters, heating coil, cooling coil, fan for air distribution, economizer, heat recovery, then a planium boxes or box. Oh, I've come to the end. Then in addition to that, before I've come to the end. Hello, there's something I want to talk about too. We have what they call the greenhouse effect, though it's not part of the topic, so you must know it as facility manager. We have what they call the greenhouse effect and global warming. Greenhouse effect is as a result of discharge of chlorofluorocarbon. Those of us that are in science classes will understand. The discharge that come from your AC, all those refrigerants you open, you don't recover them in a can, you expose them to the environment. They don't have where to go, they are gas. You can't destroy them. You understand? They go into the ozone layer, eat up the ozone layers, and allow sun to come into space. Those are called the greenhouse effect. So once the sun comes in, they begin to heat up the environment. And as you heat up the environment, areas in the world that have never seen flood in their life are experiencing it. Sorry for calling that Joe Biden. You know, when Trump was in government, he was not supporting the global warming initiative, the greenhouse effect initiative. But this present government is talking about it. As I speak to you, a whole city is covered in flood in Indonesia. You can watch it out on CNN, Al Jazeera, or BBC. You understand? Our world is being submerged into water by the activities of man in the world. So the air conditioning system has a major contribution to all this. So if you are running a facility, do not allow your technician to just pour out refrigerant into the environment. They do it without organic. We release and jare. Normally, for a facility, a standard facility, there's an equipment to recover gas. But it's unfortunate that Nigeria does not have a standard to bring out those gas can actually be purified to make new gas for use, more like recycling. So the global warming is caused by excessive carbon dioxide in the environment. When you see bush burning in Texas, you see bush burning in Canada, you see bush burning in Australia, all those are covering, even in this Amazon forest in Brazil. The effect of burning all these things are going into the air. So when the greenhouse effect allow the sun to come in, this other one, the carbon dioxide that's hang in the air, refuse to allow the heat to go back. So thereby creating a blanket of heat. You must have watched these days. Somebody must have mentioned to you, why come this weather is becoming so hot these days? You can imagine we're experiencing Hamatan in February. I have not experienced that before. I've always witnessed around October, November, December. Last year it was around January. Now it's shifting to February. Who knows if it is in June that we'll experience for next year or next 2 years? But what am I saying? Our effect, what we do in our building, is having impact on the environment. So as facility managers, make your building safe. Toyosi was asking you, what is your take from the last class? Every person is talking about building code and the rest. But I tell you, if you go and manage facility in Europe, you will be arrested once they see you are discharging a refrigerant into the environment. We don't have laws that covers for it in Nigeria. So people live the way they want. So I tell you, let us use the right refrigerant. The right refrigerant are R410A, R407, R410, and the host. There's R32 now that just came out, and host of other refrigerants are also coming out. So with this, I think I am done with today's class. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Over to you, Toyosi. Okay. Hello, any question? Okay, go ahead, Ajibola Odewale. Good evening, sir. No, identify cap. Is it in relations to the building or just by men looking? Size. Every AC, if from what I've seen or observed, there are some ACs that are 1 horsepower. They are smaller in size. As the capacity increase, the AC sizes increase. Then another thing you can also check, they always have a nameplate on it, either on the indoor unit or the outdoor unit. You can see the capacity there. Some, the time to tell you that one AC is 1 horsepower. That 1 horsepower is the same thing as 2.8 kilowatts. 2.8 kilowatts. Are you getting me? So you can get it from the nameplate or by mere looking, but that nameplate will give you a precise capacity. You see the cooling capacity and the electrical capacity. Please do not confuse electrical power to cooling power. Electrical power is a watts, cooling power is also watts. They always state it there, cooling load. They always state it, cooling load. The one they wrote cooling load is the one you should take. They also be in watts too. Next question. Next question. Good evening. Who is coming? Is it Godwin? Is this God's time Erubami? Okay, go ahead, please. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. EER. Okay. Okay. Energy efficiency ratio. Let me tell you a story. A little sorry, it won't take a long time. A farmer is weighing 30 kg. Let's say he has 30 calories. He now wants to kill an animal that is having 10 calories. 10 calories. He carried a gun. This animal knows that this man wants to kill him. So he took the man around the whole village. And as the man was running, from that 30 calories, the man is burning more energy. At the end of the day, the man has burned more than 10, only to discover the other man too has lost 5 out of his own. So it does not make sense. So what am I trying to bring out here? In energy production, everybody is talking of efficient lighting system, efficient television, efficient car, efficient this. What are they trying to tell you? They want to get maximum power, maximum output, while using only little input, which might be in form of electricity. So if I plug, that presently LG has a generator, has I pass my neighbor generator that can power some AC. What are they trying to work into Nigeria? They are trying to use little energy to power a bigger AC. So that is when the energy efficiency ratio comes in. So if I'm using 2 kilowatts as electricity and I'm getting 10 kilowatts, that 10 divided by 2 will give you 5 energy efficiency ratio. That means that equipment is more efficient. But if I'm using 2 kilowatts, I'm also getting output of 2 kilowatts. I am not deriving anything. I'm not even enjoying it.